Well, if you want to do something other than work a 9 to 5, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. Gen Z is all about that work-life balance in 2025. And quite frankly, I think you should not commit your life to a company or to really anything. Maybe to a family, but that's about where I draw the line. The Wall Street Journal seems to think otherwise. In Work-Life Balance Will Keep You Mediocre by Emil Barr. And as you can see, here's an illustration of someone who's all work and no everything else. Quite frankly, I think it's okay to be like, there is a certain point where you have to go to the extremes on one or the other. Like today, I am basically spending all day recording YouTube videos while my mom is at the casino so that I have material I can edit if she decides to work from home later on. Or if I get all the editing done, or most of it, before she gets back from the casino, I can more easily just enjoy playing my video games. And if she works from home, I can just play video games to block out the sound of her on the work calls. Because that's what I have to do because that's what I have to work with as a man living at home in his late 20s. Of course, if I lived in an apartment of some kind with God knows how many kind of people making noise, I would probably not be able to record to the capacity that I can do right now. So, before I get into the article and see what Emil has to say about how work-life balance will keep you mediocre, I suspect it has something to do with not climbing up the corporate ladder because, like Tim Pool says about people who work from home, the boss doesn't notice you if you're just working from home. Be sure to give this video a like, comment what you think about work-life balance, and what you think is whether you think it's okay to go all in on one side or the other every now and then. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for cultural commentary and rants from a man caught between generations. And last but not least, let's keep the conversation going at the Zillennial Nexus Point Discord. Link will be in the description below. Alright. What if I told you that the notion of work-life balance is keeping a generation from reshaping the global economy? What if I told you that the boomers are holding on to all the positions of power that are keeping Gen Z and the millennials, to an extent, from being able to reshape the global economy? I'm 22, and I've built two companies that together are valued at more than $20 million. I've signed up my alma mater as a client, connected with billionaire mentors, and secured deferred admission to Stanford's MBA program. When people ask how I did it, the answer isn't what they expect or want to hear. I eliminated work-life balance entirely and just worked. When you front load your success early, you buy the luxury of choice for the rest of your life. Emil's not wrong. I'm just gonna say it. Obviously, if you do more now, you won't have to do as much later. Max Tuning put it best in one of his videos. He said that it's important to do your fitness stuff when you're younger so that you can afford to, I don't know, lose muscle mass or whatever might come up later if you're not able to work out to that extent later the way you can when you're younger. And then obviously, really anything, it's going to take a lot of effort. If you want to go all in or if you want to be at the top of something, you do have to put in a lot of time. It's not like what the philosophical gamers said about how people could work very few hours but get a lot done in that. It does require a lot of time. Like, little behind the scenes tidbits for this channel, for the work I do here on this. I spent 2 o'clock to 6:15 on Wednesday with a 30-minute snack break that, okay, went a little longer than 30 minutes. But I had to do that to make sure that could keep the daily streak going, even though I am planning on ending that daily streak at the end of the month and then going down to 3 times a week in September. Getting back to the article, in 2020, when I entered Miami University in Ohio, I calculated that I had roughly 1,460 days to build something meaningful before the real world demanded that I conform to a traditional career after graduation. That works out to 35,040 hours. Most students subtract sleep, 8 hours a day, classes, 6 hours a day, and basic necessities, 2 hours, leaving them with 8 hours a day to spend on life, entertainment, clubs, dating, hanging out with friends, and other activities that rarely move the needle on long-term goals. Yeah, you only have a certain number of hours to do everything you want to do. I took a different approach and spent my time building a social media company from my dorm room. That business, Step Up Social, helped companies grow on TikTok and Instagram Reels. It hit $1 million a year in revenue in less than 2 years. During my first year working on Step Up Social, I averaged 3.5 hours of sleep a night and had about 12.5 hours every day to focus on business. The physical and mental toll was brutal. I gained 80 pounds, lived on Red Bull, and struggled with anxiety. But this level of intensity was the only way to build a multi-million-dollar company. Well, to at least do it that quickly. My approach reflects a broader shift among successful young entrepreneurs. The traditional path, college, corporate career, 401k, retirement, delivers diminishing returns. People barely older than we are have disrupted entire industries. We understand that the window for building something meaningful is narrow, and the tools to do it often are already in our hands. Yeah, we have smartphones and such. As Patrick Starr said, we have technology! Older generations call this pace unsustainable, but I call it front-loading success. My peers who have made similar choices also are taking advantage of unlimited access to information, global markets, and productivity tools with the goals of making money and, crucially, creating options for ourselves. The median starting salary for US college graduates is $55,000 a year, which means earning your first million takes years. But if you optimize ruthlessly during your peak physical and cognitive years, you could achieve financial freedom by 30 and buy yourself choices for the rest of your life. And you wouldn't end up still living at home at 28 like I am. Again, I am grateful that I have a rent-free place to call home, but I kind of wish I had focused on something like that when I was Emil's age. Like, really focused, or I'd been willing to go all the way, because that was one of the problems I had when I was in college. I was trying to have a school life balance, if you will. So, basically, I would exclusively take my classes on the weekdays and try to be home by dinner time. I did not, I avoided events or anything that wasn't absolutely necessary to passing a class like the plague. Yeah, you've got to be willing to really commit to it. That's why with this YouTube channel, I do things for it pretty much 7 days a week because I am committed to it. And I'll admit I've been willing to go outside of the normal 9 to 5 hours and have considered putting in more 12-hour days with it. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but who knows? I might decide to do that as I record this today. Getting back to the article, I already read that part. Building wealth this way requires sacrifices most people aren't willing to make. Here's what that looked like for me. Outsource everything non-essential. I hired a cleaning lady, subscribed to meal delivery services, and cut out every task that could be done by someone else for less than what my time was worth according to our business's hourly rates. When your company is generating thousands of dollars a day, spending $100 to skip grocery shopping is a no-brainer. Wow, this guy is all about time maxing. Prune social networks. I filtered every social commitment through 3 questions. Would I rather be building my company or spending time on this? Will this relationship survive if I skip this event? And if not, is this someone I really need in my life? The isolation was painful, and some friendships didn't survive. This approach may sound harsh, but it's about giving priority to the kind of relationships that can weather your ambitions, rather than those that require constant maintenance through surface level social events. In my case, I can turn surface level social events into content for this channel, not by recording at them or anything, but by talking about them after the fact or talking about my observations during it. You get the idea. Optimize academic life. From the start, I treated college like a business decision. I gave priority to classes graded purely on exams rather than attendance, and did my best to attend only if the subject matter was related to my business ventures or business interests. I steered clear of courses that banned laptops in the classroom, because I couldn't be offline for 3 or more hours a day when my team and clients needed me. Plus, it isn't 1999, and that kind of thinking won't get us anywhere. At that point, why were you even at college in the first place? Why not just take online classes like Sam in the movie Luck? Okay, it wasn't a huge part of the movie, but you get the idea. Adopt a zero-based calendar. Every commitment had to justify its place on my calendar, with social events, casual hangouts, and even family gatherings weighed against business priorities. I constantly felt guilty about missing important moments with loved ones, but ironically, the relationships that mattered most grew stronger because the time I did spend with them was deeply intentional. Quality over quantity, am I right? Optimize transportation. This one is unconventional, I'll admit, but I've used helicopters to cut travel time between meetings. It may sound excessive until you calculate the opportunity cost. A 3-hour drive versus a 20-minute flight frees up extra hours for closing deals, reviewing strategy, or working with and mentoring my team. I feel the same way with Uber to some extent. I could literally use Uber to make a list of what videos to record on the way home, and then when I get home, I can go right to doing what I do. I'm not suggesting that everyone eliminate work-life balance, but rather arguing that for ambitious young people who want to build wealth, traditional balance is a trap that will keep you comfortably mediocre. The path I chose was painful. There's no sugarcoating the mental health struggles, the physical deterioration, or the social isolation that came with this intensity. But in a winner takes all economy, extreme efficiency during your peak physical and mental years becomes a baseline for building wealth that lasts a lifetime. I plan to become a billionaire by the age 30. Then I will have the time and resources to tackle problems close to my heart, like climate change, species extinction, and economic inequality. The formula is simple. Sacrifices I make now are an investment in decades of choice later. And it says that here that Mr. Barr is a founder of Step Up Social, managing partner of Candid Network, and a co-founder of FlashPass. Yeah, that was heavy because, well, if you want to do something other than work a 9 to 5, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. The whole idea of the 9 to 5 and the whole idea of the 40-hour work week was for the people who are employed by the people who are willing to put in all those 40-hour, the 80-hour work weeks or dedicate their lives to it. Whereas what I call W-2 work, if not instant gratification work, all of that is really just doing something for someone else, which, yes, is to make someone else rich, but you're guaranteed a certain level of income. So the thing with the 9 to 5 is you're guaranteed X amount of dollars per hour, but then you have to work those 40 hours, and then you're able to take care of other things in your life, maybe not to the same extent you could if you only worked 20 hours per week. But I digress. The point is, no sacrifice, no victory, as they said in the 2007 Transformers movie. You have to be willing to do fewer leisure activities and spend more time actually doing something that can benefit you in the long run. Like, one of my commenters said something about how something like making videos or writing a book, all of which I have done, are more beneficial to you long term than just sitting around playing video games. And He's completely right. Lately, I haven't really felt the urge to play video games for long periods of time like I did last month when I basically speed ran Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition because, well, my mom worked from home one day and I was well ahead on my YouTube stuff. But anyway, I think I'm going to leave it here for the video before I get too meta about the behind the scenes of this channel. The TLDR is you have to give up to go up, and if you put in a lot of work sooner, then you won't have to do as much later. It applies to fitness, like Max Tuning said. It applies to work, like Emil talked about here. And quite frankly, I completely agree with it. But yeah, that's why I do a lot of recording on one day if I get the chance. This way, I don't have to record as much later. I can edit as little as one video per day to keep things going. Anyway, be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Comment whether you're inspired to go all in on something you've been meaning to do and commit your life to it, or at least commit a whole lot of time to it now so you don't have to worry about that later. Don't forget to subscribe for cultural commentary from a man caught between generations. And be sure to join me at the Zillennial Nexus Point Discord. Link will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.